Hello vinyl community, this is Mike with TCAT's Deep Vinyl Tracks. Randall Weaver, one of the members of the vinyl community, has been doing a series of videos where he shows different titles of records from different letters of the alphabet, and we're all welcome to add to that thread wherever we want to. He just most recently, in fact earlier today, did one for the letter Q, but since there's so few titles that start with Q, at least they're a little harder to find, he included a lot of miscellaneous letters. So this particular episode showed album titles starting with the letter Q, U, V, X, Y, and Z. So that's what I'm going to do, is show some starting with those letters. Randall Nelson actually challenged me to do the letter Q, which I found out was very tough to do since there's so few that start with the letter Q, but by combining all these letters together actually made it easier to find a lot more albums. So I'm going to show my top 10 albums that start with the letter Q, U, V, X, Y, and Z. At least the albums that I have, vinyl albums that I have in my collection. So to start out, we got, with the letter Q, we got the Moody Blues, A Question of Balance. This is a great Moody Blues album, one of their classic albums. And of course you got the gatefold, and the outside opens up like this. And this one includes the great song Question. Also has And the Tide Rushes In, Dawning is the Day, Melancholy Man. Some great tracks on this one. Question of Balance by Moody Blues. One by Hawkwind. I've shown this a few times. Quark, Strangeness, and Charm starts with a Q. This is Hawkwind's, probably around their 7th or 8th album, I believe. One of their best albums, I think. If you like space rock, Hawkwind is the band that is credited for starting that genre. And of course, you can't have Qs without Quadrophenia. This is by The Who, one of my all-time favorite albums. Great double album, released. It was released after Tommy, which was their first rock opera. This was their second full album-length rock opera, Quadrophenia, and to me it's probably my favorite out of all their albums. Really love this album. Comes with a nice sized booklet along with it that tells, has pictures that deal with the story behind the album. The letter U, I've got Porcupine Trees, Up the Down Stair. This is one of Porcupine Tree's more, I guess you'd call it psychedelic records. But you hear a lot where they're starting to move towards a more hard rock style. There's the gatefold. And this has great tracks on it, like Synthesthesia. Up the Downstairs, a great instrumental track. Not Beautiful Anymore. Cloud Zero, The Joke's on You. And this one also has Yellow Hedgerow Dreamscape on it, along with Rainy Taxi. Both of those are, I don't believe, are on the original version of this album. For the letter V, I've got Grizzly Bear, Becatomist. Again, one of my favorite albums. Grizzly Bear is an experimental alternative band that kind of messes around with experimental and sort of a folkish sound, I guess you could call it, but really quite original style music. Um, Great album. This one has some really cool labels. And Grizzly Bear, The Catamist. Probably their best album, I believe. Also under the letter V, one of my favorite jazz vocal bands, the Manhattan Transfer. This is Vocalese, their best album. If you're going to own anything by the Manhattan Transfer, it should be this album here. Either this one or Brazil. Both of them are just great albums. This one is probably more for the jazz aficionados, as it's a little more complex than some of their other albums. But just amazing vocalizations on this, great harmonies, just wonderful, wonderful album. And also under V, The Traveling Wilburys, Volume 1. Everybody's pretty much familiar with this album. One of my favorite albums. And they only had actually two albums. And one kind of a video album. But this is probably their most famous. It has the most popular songs on it. Handle with Care, Last Night, End of the Line. Some great songs on here. Of course, everybody knows Traveling Wilburys consists of Roy Orbison, Tom Petty, Bob Dylan, Jeff Lynne, and George Harrison. So great supergroup. For the letter X, this is the only one I have under the letter X with the title, and that's Andy Summers from the Police. This is his album XYZ, somewhat experimental. He had a very interesting guitar style. This is just on the simple MCA Records label. And I think this is pretty much all instrumental, if I remember right. Great album, especially if you like the stuff that's just a little bit left field from normal. Under the letter Y, of course, we can't have the letter Y without the Yes album. One of my favorite Yes albums. This was the album that's seen the introduction of Bill Bruford and Steve Howe. And this is where Yes really started to change their sound to a very more progressive sound. This album starts out with the excellent riff that begins Yours Is No Disgrace. What an amazing song. I love that song. Has the acoustic guitar solo by Steve Howe on it called The Clap. Their first multi-movement suite called Starship Trooper. Of course, you got the popular I've Seen All Good People. And Perpetual Change is another multi-song suite. Just great album by Yes, the Yes album. And for the letter Z, we go to the Police Zenyatta Mondata. This is my favorite Police album. This is the first album I heard by the Police. I remember my best friend had this, and he didn't like it, but I put it on and just fell in love with it right away. I just love the beat on this, the rhythms, kind of sarcastic feel to the songs. Just everything about this. I love this album. And of course, I love all the albums by the Police, but this one is my top album from them. And of course, you gotta have Frank Zappa, Zoot Allures. This one is one of Zappa's more guitar-centered albums. This was the album he put out after his accident where he fell from the stage and almost completely ruined his voice forever. This one's just on the regular Warner Brothers label. So his vocals are a little low on this one. But this has got the famous track, The Torture Never Stops. It also has the great instrumental Black Napkins, and also Zootolures. The very funny song Disco Boy. There's a lot of satire on this album, and a lot of just great guitar work. So if you like guitar, if you like heavy guitar music, this is the Frank Zappa album that you need to pick up if you don't have any others. Zootolures. Alright, so that's it. Everybody's welcome to join in on any of these threads. Just go over to Randall Weaver's channel and check out some of the videos he's done for different letters of the alphabet. There's a few of them he's combined, like on this one. And you're welcome to join in and show some of your top 10 titles. So thank you so much for watching, and we will talk to you later.